Hey there, I am D. Batman. What is it about him that makes him among the most popular characters ever? A question I posed last time I talked about him, yet I still haven't got an answer. Remember that book? It was basically The Crow, dolled up to look like a Batman story. A sequel to the then recent movie, no less. But even if you get past the fact that it was really The Crow, it had nothing to do with that movie. But it's the only book they wrote, right? I'd wish. Enter Batman Inferno. And just by looking at the cover, I'm drawn in. I mean, this is either the Joker dressed up as Batman, or it's Batman who thinks he's the Joker. Either way, this has to be good. Or at the very least, better than that one.
The Gazette's esteemed automotive columnist published or was built a think piece on Batman's car.
Right. I should warn you first. Every now and then, the story is interrupted by a newspaper article talking about recent events. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Until...
And this was on page 1. The same day that Carmine Falcone's goons turned the Gotham Superior Courthouse into their own shooting gallery.
And we're off to a bad start already. The day that Batman first appeared was the same day that Falcone was arrested. At a harbor. But this here seems to imply he was active before that happened.
I've got an idea. Why bother to figure out what kind of car he's driving? It's the Bat car on a Bat chassis, powered by a Bat motor, with top-of-the-line Bat springs.
And here's problem number 2. Every article seems to be written by a Fox News reporter, but they choose to write overly emotional opinions over cold hard facts. All except Vicky Vale for some reason. Maybe the writer has a crush on her. Bruce had already redone the cave's wiring twice to accommodate the additions he's made since deciding to create this hideaway 2 years ago. So the events of the movie happened 2 years before this. Good to know. It seems to me, says Alfred, that the very fact of your marriage would keep the gossip rags in rapture for years. Bruce laughs. True. Bruce laughs? In public where he has to keep up appearances, yes, but in the safety and comfort of his own home? The fire has bridged 2 tenements in Otisburg. From a rooftop near the fire, Enfer watches the firefighters and waits for the first of them to enter one of the buildings. Enfer? Don't you mean Firebug? I'd applaud you for trying to create an original character, but what's the point? The last guy who tried that at least had the excuse that he didn't want to use characters that might be used in the sequels. But here, he's obviously about to use a well-established character. So you might as well use another one, like Firebug. Who's exactly who this Enfer is anyway, just with a different name. My upstart Firebug, the Joker says. He's not even trying to hide this. Enfer really is Firebug. If the firemen don't cooperate and Batman doesn't show up, Enfer is going to have a little problem on his hands with a certain Dr. Crane.
You'll rue the day you did that.
He seems harmless. What could he possibly have to fear from... Oh. Wait. He didn't mean that Dr. Crane. He meant this one. The director is waiting just inside the main front doors. This is highly irregular, he says. Shitty coats, Dr. Crane. Okay, maybe he did mean Fraser Crane. I mean, after everything that happens in the movie, they can't possibly mean Jonathan Crane. Dr. Jonathan Crane reached by telephone last night. They do? What about a scarecrow persona? Never mentioned? Did this guy even watch Batman Begins? When Thomas and Martha Wayne lay dying in Crime Alley, Crime Alley? This is starting to sound like the Adam West series. A large fire is burning on the grounds of Arkham Asylum. It is unclear how many inmates might have used the fire as cover for escape attempts. Uncharacteristically smart reporter. When the city inspector went by and slipped the lock on his door, the Joker was sure it was a trap. So the Joker is content to sit there. Content, that is, until he smells smoke. Now hold on. Wait a minute. Didn't Batman Begins establish that the Joker was running free? So why does it say here that he's escaping? If he continues to be such a lucky ducky, he'll get another chance at that strange and humorless creature that everyone has been calling Batman, whom he last encountered at the end of the Reservoir debacle. They've met before? Is this book a sequel to another sequel? If yes, what happened to that sequel? Don't! And besides, this book came first. One of the holes he's wriggled through connects not tunnel to tunnel, but tunnel to cave. Despicably easy. So no snooping around, no simple deductions as to how the Joker even found the Batcave, he just happened upon it. Okay, at least now we know where he got the suit from. As the car passes him, he glimpses the grinning figure behind the wheel. He can't quite decide if he's hallucinating or he's really observing the Joker in full Batman regalia. Did you see that? He screams at the top of his lungs. Batman just ran over that girl and her dog! I'll admit it's an interesting story. But A, we've seen it before, and B, the Joker had a chance of finding out who Batman really is. Now there's a missed opportunity. Sure, the notion of one or more villains knowing who Batman is has been explored before. But the Joker, who's not just the most well-known but also Batman's greatest nemesis, if he knew who Batman was, that ought to be the biggest thing ever. And that's where this book ultimately fails. I mean, if the Joker merely copied the suit and car and went around giving Batman a bad name, no problem. But instead, he in fact discovers the Batcave, steals the suit and car, but doesn't bother to find out who Batman is? I'm sorry, but if you're gonna go this far, I expect a little more. Hearing that Two-Face or the Joker is definitely off the streets will help us all sleep better at night. And spoiler, Two-Face doesn't even appear in this story. Why bother mentioning him at all? Who knows? Oh my god! Phoebe says. What's that? Bruce says. I just heard someone over there say that the police shot Batman today. Wow. And I thought Alison Noel was... Oh. We're not even halfway through yet. My bad. Bullshit! Bruce says. And we have the prototype for College Humor's Batman. I sure appreciate you taking this time, Captain. Vicky Vale is telling him. It must be difficult for you having to be the department's point person for anything having to do with Batman. Well, Vicky, Gordon says. I've worked on a number of Batman-related cases. How did it feel to shoot him? So, Enfer, who's met Batman only once before, but never the Joker, could recognize the Joker disguised as Batman from a moving vehicle, no less. And yet Gordon, who's met Batman several times before, doesn't recognize the Joker in a Batman suit at all? I'll repeat that. Gordon does not recognize Batman? To summarize, Like the other book, this one has nothing to do with the movie it's tying into. The plot leaves a lot to be desired, and can only work if you accept that all these characters are complete idiots. I need a drink.